Welcome everybody to the Single and Stilettos Show. I'm Suzanne Oshima and I'm a matchmaker and dating coach at Dream Bachelor and Bachelorette. I'm also the founder of Single and Stilettos. Today we have on our show Iris Benrubi, and she's a relationship and intimacy coach at Simply Success. And I'm so excited to have her here today because today she's talking about I'm doing everything to find love, but it's not working. Help. So before we jump into it though, Iris, I would love for you to tell our audience a little bit about you and how you became a relationship and intimacy coach.
All right. So quite a few years ago, about 16 or 17 years ago, my daughter brought home a letter asking anybody who wanted to teach parenting. At the time, I figured I didn't need any help teaching and learning how to be a good parent, but I wanted to learn how to stand up in front of a group. And as I learned the principles and I happened to apply them to my children, I realized, oh my God, life is so much easier when I can apply these psychologically sound principles. And I decided I want to go back and do my master's in counseling psychology. And as I began to see clients, I realized that the quality of their relationships in their lives was a real reflection of their ability to be emotionally intimate with themselves. And so that was my quest, to make a difference to people's quality of intimacy with themselves so that they could turn that around and create deeply connected relationships.
Awesome. Well, so Iris, a lot of times I find that women get so frustrated and they feel like they're doing everything, and there's a point where they almost want to give up. And I'm always like, no, you can't give up. This is the worst thing that you could do is give up. So tell us the first tip on how a woman can, find love.
Yeah, I'm going to say the first thing that comes up for me is really start to do the things that she loves. Wouldn't it be wonderful to meet a man who has the same hobbies that you do? Whether it's dancing, whether it's singing in a choir. But if you can start to do the things that you love, what you project is a woman that's satisfied. A healthy man is going to want a woman who is already satisfied, where he's not responsible for making her happy. He wants to contribute to it. He wants to be the icing on the cake. He doesn't want to be the cake. So if you can actually learn to go out there and do the things that you love and have a great life and be open to meeting a man in those situations, not only will you attract a healthier man, you'll also attract a man with the same hobbies you have. What a great start. That's a great foundation.
That is so true. And I always tell women, because I always give my clients the same tip, is that if you're doing something that you love, it actually takes the pressure of, oh, I'm going out there to meet the right man. If you're doing something you love and you meet the right man, it's just icing on the cake, but it takes a lot of that pressure off. And I want to emphasize one other thing that you said, is that it's really, really important for a woman to be happy. Mm-hmm. Because if you're not happy in your own life, no man is going to make you happy. So tell us your second tip, Iris.
Yeah, I think my second tip is start to notice how you communicate with a man. Do you communicate by complaining? What he's stopped doing, what he's not doing anymore. You never, pick me up, or you never make plans anymore. And men don't do well with complaints. As women, when we hear our girlfriends complain, we're like, okay, how can I do that differently? So we're different. It's really understanding that men need something different. So if you want to shift things, you really want to focus on what a man does well, and you want to reinforce that. You want to let him know that he is succeeding with you, because if all he hears is complaints, honestly, if you complain to me all the time, I'd stop trying hard as well, and I would probably bail on the relationship. So if you want a good man to hang around, you want to let him know that he's making a difference to the quality of your life.
Yeah, and I think it's important not to take a man for granted in the things that he does for you, because all a man wants to do is make you happy. And I want to emphasize too, like how you talked about the complaining or telling him what he's doing wrong. If something's bothering you about something the man that you're with or on a date with is bothering you, have a conversation. It's a conversation between you both. It's not you berating him for what he's doing wrong, because then he feels like a child, like you're his mother, right? So tell us your third tip, Iris.
I think the big one for women is really moving out of their masculine and allowing a man to take care and lead them in the relationship. You know, especially single women are so used to being self-sufficient, being able to achieve everything that needs to be done. Stuff that used to be men's roles before, which is income, banking, doing stuff around the house. I've talked about this before. I'm capable of changing the light, the lock on the front door, programmable thermos. I can do it all if I want. But I've also learned to ask my guy to step in and help me out. And sometimes I feel like, oh, I shouldn't ask him. You know, he also has a life. You know, don't bother him. But in the long run, they feel like they're making a difference to you. So when we can step back and ask a man to step in, like I told one of my guy friends, I asked him to come. He had these big kind of choppers for the trees that were ready. Like there was too much shade in my backyard. And when he cut them all down, I went, thank you. You made such a difference to me. I really appreciate, you know, his shoulders went back, his chest puffed out. He realized that we weren't even in a romantic relationship, but that he could contribute to me. And a man needs to hear that from you.
That is so, so true. If a man feels like he's doing something to help you or whatever it is, that will make him feel great. But I want women to also understand, as strong, independent women, and I'm that way too, and Iris is this way, sometimes we look at it as a weakness, and it's hard for us to ask for help. I had the hardest time asking for help. And once I started to work into it and ease into it and start asking for help, I didn't feel weak any longer. I was actually like relieved. I was like, oh, he's going to help me with this and I don't have to do it. I'm thrilled that it takes something off of my plate.
Yeah, I was just going to add, I just did this trip where I went to Paris and Nepal and then Thailand, and I had a 50-pound backpack that I could just barely lift because I had a whole bunch of donations for an orphanage in Nepal. Do you know that I never picked up my backpack? The only time I picked it up was when I arrived in Toronto to pick it up and put it into the car, because I was really open to allowing other people to step in. In Paris, I called a cousin to ask him if he could help me with my backpack because it was so heavy. I learned to sit back, wait a moment, see if my cousin steps in to take it, ask my other cousin to help me take it. When I was in Nepal, I was met by the director of the orphanage. He picked it up himself. It was great. It was the ultimate in learning to be in my feminine, to allow all men, and not just the man that I'm in a relationship with, but allow all men to contribute to me because it makes them feel good.
That's a great point, that it's not just the man that you're dating or in a relationship with, that it's all men in general. And I love that you gave that tip. Well, these have been some great tips, Iris. So tell our audience how they can find you.
Yeah, so they can get a hold of me at iris@simplysuss.ca. And if they're interested in the 8 principles, which I've touched on today, on how to have a man love, adore, and cherish you and treat you like a queen, just send me an email, put ebook in the subject line, and I'll send that off to you.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody for joining us on the Single and Stiletto Show. Our show is available both in video format and podcast format. If you like to view the videos, you can go to singleandstilettos.com. And if you like to get the podcast, you can download it from iTunes. If you like to get our free ebook on the 3 secrets guaranteed to attract any man based on scientific research, you can click right here on the video, or you can go to singleandstilettos.com.